Welcome to the Crown Casino in Melbourne, Australia, where the world's finest poker players have traveled from across the globe to compete in the Southern Hemisphere's premier poker tournament. At stake, nearly $7.5 million. FullTiltPoker.net presents the Aussie Millions. 747 players began on day one, the largest field ever to compete in a poker tournament outside of North America. But one by one, many of poker's biggest names fell. Now, it's day two. Fewer than 300 remain, and many of the world's top players are fighting to survive, including hometown hero, 2005 world champion, Joe Hashem.
I can feel in my bones everybody downstairs is just rooting for me so hard.
But Hashem and his crew aren't the only ones digging in down under.
It's not just a random small tournament with a couple of locals and a couple of pros. This will definitely be a big win for whoever wins it.
From the Crown Casino in Melbourne, FullTiltPoker.net presents the Aussie Millions. Welcome to Melbourne, Australia, and the beautiful Crown Casino and Tower, home of the 2007 Aussie Millions. Play is underway. The Crown Casino's card room is packed. I'm Barry Tompkins, along with noted poker author Michael Koenig. Let's check in with the man atop the leaderboard, Patrick Antonius. Currently has 315,000 in chips.
This guy might not be familiar to a lot of American viewers, but he is a beast from Finland, making a big name for himself.
You know, I want to remind you, too, we're going to be keeping an eye at our outer tables as the day goes along. Right now, though, let's take a look at our featured table. And the big dog, the Great Dane, Gus Hansen, one of the most well-known and feared players in the game today. How about the young gun, Jeff Madsen?
Talk about bursting on the scene. His first World Series, 2 bracelets.
And right now, he's at 75,000. Our average chip stack in the tournament, about 50,000. Well, as you can see, everyone chasing down Gus Hansen. Probably the last person any player wants to see ahead of him in chips. Blinds are 600 and 1,200 with a 200 chip ante.
Everybody started with 20,000 in chips. And at this point, you'd like to have at least double that.
Boxel with an ace-9. Australian native.
There goes your cover.
Gus Hansen, he's got a king-4.
All right.
He'll fold. Ben Collins folds a 10-9 offsuit. Australia's own Min Quach, an ace-queen suited. Trying to figure out what he wants to do with this. He is 24 years old, and he hasn't even told his mom and dad he's playing in this event.
How much do you have left?
He wants to know how much Boxel has left. That's never a question you want to hear when you're the short stack.
No.
All right, call.
He calls. 4,000 more to call. 2 to the flop. Ace-Jack 3.
Bad news for Boxel here, Barry. He connected with his ace, but you see, Quach has him badly outkicked.
Check.
Check from Quach.
I'm all in.
All in for Boxel.
Can't blame him. He made his hand.
How much is that?
But his opponent wants to know how much it is, and I don't see Quach folding here.
Can't imagine. Just about 23,000 to make the call. Boxel was the runner-up in this event.
Back in 2003.
All right, call.
He does call.
Wow.
Good call.
I'll say it was a good call.
No 9, please. No 9.
We want a 9. We must have a 9.
No 9.
2 different viewpoints on the 9.
Don't suck out on me, please.
I got to stay alive in this. I'm on the 9.
No 9.
Give us a 9, Steve.
Anyone have a queen? You had a queen?
In case you haven't figured out, Boxel needs a 9.
Got a 7 on the turn.
With 1 card to come, Boxel is dead to the remaining 9.
And that's it.
Queen
Quach
plays.
wins the hand and eliminates Boxel.
See you later, guys.
And the see you later
Good to meet you, mate.
as Boxel
Gus.
is out of here. Guy who has played very well in this event before.
He pushed me all in thinking if he had ace-jack, he wouldn't push all in. Ace-king would have spared out.
He would have pushed in no matter what, but he have to call.
Didn't want to look at me.
Min Quach doing well in his hometown.
I had a read. I thought he had ace-10.
If you're new to the game of Texas Hold'em, here's how you play. Each player is dealt 2 down cards. Then players decide whether to call, raise, or fold. If 2 or more players remain, the community cards are dealt. The first 3 are called a flop, and they're followed by a round of betting. Next comes the turn card, more betting, and finally, the river card. What makes it no limit is that a player can bet all his or her chips at any time. This is called an all-in. In this case, players show their cards, and in all cases, the best 5-card hand wins and takes the pot. 747 players started in this event, Michael. We're currently at 300 remaining. Most of those players are here at our outer tables. Eric Lindgren has already had a great Aussie Millions, winning $1 million by taking down a $100K buy-in event. But thus far, he just hasn't been able to carry over that momentum. Still continuing to lose chips. How about this guy, though, Chris Ferguson?
One of the most renowned tournament players in the world, but he's having trouble getting any momentum going. Chris, very low on chips.
Ferguson, of course, not the only world champion left in this field. There's Joe Hashem, back in his hometown, 2005 world champion.
Yeah, he's currently actually below average, and we see here he's trying to double through Swedish poker pro Peter Hedlund.
I'm king 9.
And he's got the best hand right now.
King, call for a king.
Peter Hedlund with a queen 10. 10, king 7.
Slow down now.
Both players improve their hand, but Hashem has the best.
Very slowly show me a king.
He wants a king.
Getting a little greedy there, Joe.
He gets a 5. He can't look. It's a deuce. Hashem will double through.
I thought I played that really well. Wow, this is the most chips I've had in 2 days, people. Be careful. Woohoo! We're going to see some flops now.
Well, Joe Hashem ready for some action. There'll certainly be more action coming your way from the 2007 Aussie Millions. Welcome back to the 2007 Aussie Millions, presented by FullTiltPoker.net. I'm Barry Tompkins, along with my partner Michael Koenig. And Michael, tonight we really have the pleasure of watching 2 of the more entertaining pros at our feature table.
There may be no one more entertaining than Gus Hansen. The Great Dane is volatile, he's enigmatic, and this style made him several years ago probably the top tournament player in the world. But it's been a fairly long dry spell for Gus. He's looking for another victory. We also have Jeff Madsen, who made an enormous splash. Only 21 years old, he won 2 bracelets. I would characterize his style as Gus Hansen-esque. We're going to see teacher and student at the same table.
Well, Gus Hansen, Mike, I think really one of those guys nobody likes to play against.
You can put me in that category. Tough to compete against somebody who is so unpredictable.
7 players at our table right now. 7-6 offsuit for Hansen. He will raise to 3,600.
Gus has never seen 2 cards he doesn't like.
Queen Little suited for Ben Collins of Troy, Michigan. He'll fold. Ian Bobbin with a king jack.
Cool.
2,400 to call for him, and he does. A little discount. 10-9 deuce.
This looks like a great flop for Bobbin, but the problem is Hansen has position. He can choose to bluff or see a free card. He's going to check and see a free card, look for that straight.
An ace on the turn.
Check it again.
And a check from Bobbin. And a check from Hansen. To the river, a 9.
1 more time.
3 checks in a row to Gus Hansen is like an engraved invitation that says, please rob me.
And let's see if Hansen's true to form. Of course. 8,600. And now what will Bobbin do?
I'll watch it on TV later.
That's what he'll do. He'll watch it on TV.
You're a thief, Gus.
I'm known to be. Been known to be.
And he's also known to be a lot of things, including one of the best players in the game today.
He's world class. He's a bull. He's a tiger. He's all the vicious animals wrapped into one.
Gus Hansen is the ultimate smokescreen.
Gus is tricky to play against because, you know, a lot of people play a certain way, certain hands have certain values. It's kind of harder to get into his head than another player who plays more straightforward.
There's a lot of different ways to play a poker hand. There's no right, no wrong. When I started out playing tournaments, I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but I had some ideas. I had a lot of success with it in the beginning, so I said, hey, why change a winning game?
When he first came out, he was just insane. He was all over the place. He was playing crazy hands and crazy spots. And he still does that a little bit. He mixes it up, but now Gus is playing a more patient, well-rounded game.
You look at him and you think he's just chaos and doesn't have a clue. He's just kind of wild. But everything he does is rooted in mathematics. He's just a very smart player that has everybody fooled.
You see Gus Hansen speaking into a little voice recorder there, Barry. He actually makes notes on the play that he reviews later. And I believe that helps him not only when he sees guys down the road on the tournament trail, but to analyze his own play.
I would only be concerned if the recorder talked back. King 10 for Dunwoody, Australia native from Queensland. Races to 3,600. Hansen ace-jack. Call. Now, Collins.
Good fold there. Strength shown before. When Madsen's in the big blind, he'll get a discount here. Still pretty borderline call there with the 7-5.
So 3 players to the flop. Ace 10-4 on the flop.
Both Dunwoody and Hansen improve, but Hansen has top pair.
Check from Madsen. Dunwoody bets 10,500. Now Hansen with a pair of aces. He'll call. That's enough to get Madsen out. 4 on the turn. And a check from Dunwoody.
Dunwoody didn't get much information from Hansen's call on the turn. He could have a lot of hands.
Now Hansen bets 16,600. And Dunwoody, trying to figure him out, does make the call. And a 3 on the river.
Potential action killer there. Completes a flush, and you see Hansen studying the Australian.
Dunwoody checks.
As usual, I don't know what's going on in this hand. As usual, I don't know what's going on in this hand. It's kind of one of those situations where either I've won enough or I've lost enough. Which means I'm going to check.
I like that play right there, and Gus Hansen is going to earn a 67,000 chip pot.
Oh, Sam.
Well, Gus Hansen, again, very tough guy to figure out. He was saying he couldn't figure anybody else out on that hand, but I'll tell you, he's on a roll, and that means trouble for the rest of the field here at the Aussie Millions. We're coming back.
Hello, Mr. Cunningham. Alan, it's a big pot out there, buddy. I'm all in. Don't be scared.
I call.
Only a donkey would make that call.
We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
Welcome back to the 2007 Aussie Millions. It's day 2 of this main event, and there are a little over 200 players left. Chips are flying around the Crown's card room. Those are the chips of Patrick Antonius, but that's not Patrick collecting them. It's Mark Karam, who just took about 85,000 out of our former chip leader's stack.
Being super aggressive is a two-edged sword. Sometimes you fall on your own blade.
And over at another table, last time we saw Joe Hashem, he had doubled up. He currently has 36,000 in chips, and now the tables are turned. He has Spiro Zephyrus all in.
Oh, great flop for Hashem. Trip jacks, and Zephyros is going to need running aces.
And that'll do it for Joe Hashem, who all of a sudden is on a bit of a run here.
I'm working here.
Well, he is working. He's got a little bit of traction going on here at the 2007 Aussie Millions. Joe Hashem now at about 40,000 in chips and moving up. 747 players began our competition here. Right now, there are 231 left. Total chips in play, almost 15 million, and the average stack now at 64,000 and change. Gus Hansen at our feature table continuing to steamroll here. 130,000. Jeff Matson hanging in there at 83,000. Klaus Lodahl still short stack, 2,100. Back at our feature table here, and we have added a new player, Wade Wolfell. Currently, 45,800 in chips.
Tough assignment for the young man. It's hard enough to get moved to a new table where you have to learn a whole bunch of new players all at once. But then add the television lights and the star power. Pretty intimidating.
Action continuing here, and Matson with a king-queen. Makes it 4,500. Ace-8 for Gus Hansen. He'll let it go. Collins, though, with pocket jacks here.
Well, poker players like to say there's 3 ways to play pocket jacks, all of them wrong. But here, I'd like to see a raise.
He called. Still a slight edge over Madsen. 2 players to the flop. Pair of 10s and a 4 on the flop.
Terrific flop for Collins. His jacks are good here. And I think that check is meant to be setting up a check raise, but Madsen does not comply.
And an 8 on the turn.
Okay, Collins must bet here, Barry. There's now 2 different flush draws out there, a straight draw.
Collins
reaching for chips.
4,800 the bet from Collins. Now what does Madsen do?
Madsen either folds or raises. I just can't see calling here.
He calls.
And that tells me Madsen is going to try to take this pot away on the river. That's the only reason.
And it's a 7 on the river.
And that's the kind of scare card that Collins didn't want to see. He was hoping for something red. A nice black 7 came up.
7,500 the bet from Collins. And Madsen raises enough to put Collins all in. And now that moment where Collins must make a decision.
And I think Madsen had this all premeditated.
7 didn't help you that much, did it?
No, in fact, it didn't help him at all.
Put me on a bluff.
Collins just kind of voicing what's going on in his mind. Madsen, of course, giving him nothing. It's the tournament for Collins here. Madsen just giving nothing. Ooh. And he throws it away.
Nice bet. You could see it, I don't care.
And he shows the cards.
Welcome to the game, sir.
That is not a good feeling for Collins.
Do you have anything? Jacks or something? Something like that.
That's exactly what he did have.
I should have made you guys wait for TV.
We would have been impressed then. Mr. Madsen on TV.
Jeff Madsen's just getting used to being on TV. Last year, the World Series of Poker's Player of the Year. He became the youngest bracelet winner ever at 21 years and 1 month.
My name is Jeff Madsen. I'm 21 years old, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. This summer, I came to the World Series, borrowed some money from my parents to play 6 events, and I got 2 firsts and 2 thirds, and ended up Player of the Year at the World Series. I was a little overwhelmed at first. I'm not used to being in the spotlight. You know, I'm in Australia now, so 6 months ago I would have never imagined I could be traveling to places like this. My style, I would say, I can switch gears, but I'm generally really aggressive. And, you know, I'm a kind of a lot like Gus. I can play 2 cards in any position. Just depends on the situation and the player.
It seems like he has a lot of good ideas, and he's aggressive. He plays funky style sometimes. Sometimes he just plays straightforward, but it's definitely very suitable for tournaments, so we'll definitely see more of Jeff Madsen, that's for sure.
The old-fashioned classical no-limit hold'em player is quickly becoming extinct thanks to guys like that.
Yeah, that's the whole new breed at 21 years of age, going to be around for a long time. Well, action folds to Lodahl. He's all in for what he has left, which is 1,300. Now Matson, a 4-5 suited. He's reaching for chips.
And he raises to 4,600. Very unorthodox play.
Now Wolfell. Pair of kings for Wolfell.
And he needs to punish Matson now. I mean, Matson just gave all sorts of protection to the all-in short stack Lodahl, and Wolfell needs to say, that is not the way we play this game, young man.
Just a straight call, though, from Wolfell.
I don't understand kids these days, Barry.
Ace, Jack, 8. And Lodahl is in a heap of trouble.
8's a very unfriendly card for the man with a pair of kings. And again, Matson reaching for chips. He's more interested in winning the 10,600 in the side pot, represented in the white bar.
4,000 was his bet to Wolfell. He's reaching for chips.
And I don't see Wolfell calling here. I mean, this kid either has to fold or raise all in right now.
And he just calls.
Well, I don't get that. But apparently Wolfell thinks his kings are still good.
Queen on the turn.
Well, Lodahl picks up a straight draw. 10 will complete that for him. But look at that board. And Matson finally says, okay, I've had enough. It looks to me like Wolfell has lost his will. He would just love to show this hand down.
And he does. He checks and a 9 on the river, and that will eliminate Lodahl.
But there's still a side pot to be contested.
Matson checks, and Wolfell will show his kings.
He's happy to win the pot, but Matson's even happier to throw his cards in the muck.
Good luck, guys.
Well, a good luck from Lodahl. He'll exit stage left, and for Wolfell, he picks up about 20,000 chips on that pot, 56.5 total.
That was kind of a dumb play. Mediocre.
I wouldn't say kind of. I would say very.
We got lots more to come. We're coming back. Welcome back to the 2007 Aussie Millions. I'm Barry Tompkins, Michael Koenig alongside. We're checking in on our outer tables and what has become a familiar scene. One-time chip leader Patrick Antonius continues to lose chips. This time the beneficiary is the defending champion in this event, Lee Nelson.
Nelson, the popular author, employs his own strategy, cracks Antonius's jacks, and he's doubled up to 280,000 chips. Meanwhile, the Finn, Patrick Antonius, he's down under 200,000 now.
And while all that's happening, Michael, Eric Lindgren, one of the great players in the world, is at risk against Ryan Brower. He's all in with a queen 10 to Brower's jack 4 and a deuce 8 ace on the flop.
Lindgren has the best hand.
5 of spades on the turn.
Ooh, what a card. Now a jack, 4, 3, or spades sends Eric Lindgren home.
On the river, it is an ace of clubs, and Eric Lindgren manages to dodge this bullet. Still only at 12,800. Got a long way to really get back in it, but he does double up on that hand. Meanwhile, back at our feature table, the blind still 600 and 1,200, a 200 chip ante. And Jeff Madsen with a queen-jack suited calls the blind.
From first position.
Fold to Gus Hansen with a king 7. He too gets out of the way.
We're seeing the new tight Gus Hansen.
For the moment. Another Aussie, Ian Bobbin, an economist from Canberra, makes the call. Now another Aussie, Min Quach from Melbourne, queen 6 suited, checks. So 3 players to the flop. 10-5 deuce on the flop.
Madsen picks up his flush draw.
A check from Bobbin to Quach. Quach going to bet 3,500 on his queen 6.
Remember, he was in the big blind. The other players know he has 2 random cards. But Madsen wants to pursue another club.
On the turn, it's a 3 of hearts.
Quach has a straight draw, but more important, he's just telling a story, and that's the next chapter.
Now, let's see if Madsen wants to read the book here. 7,000 if Madsen wants to call.
7,000 to win 19,000. He's getting less than 3-1 on this call.
He does make the call, and it's an 8 of hearts on the river.
Now, we know that Madsen has the best hand with the jack kicker, but in Madsen's mind, all he has is queen high. Quach can win this pot with a bold bet.
18,000. That's pretty bold. And Matson will fold his hand, and Quach shows him the bluff.
Wants that young man to know he's not the only one who can make a move.
Hey, at least people came to play.
There you go. It's fine. I like it.
Play has certainly loosened up at this table.
Kind of funny. Once again, I'm the tightest player at the table.
And something tells me Gus may possibly be bluffing. We're coming back. Welcome back to the 2007 Aussie Millions. Well, it looks like 2004 world champ Greg Raymer, who was eliminated on day one, has come over to check in on good friend and fellow champion Joe Hashem.
You got like over 70,000 now.
He's so good. He's so good.
Both these players cashed in on the American poker boom en route to their world championships. But the effects of Hashem's win in the U.S. have reached all the way down under, causing the Aussie Millions to explode, doubling in size from last year alone.
This is the biggest tournament outside North America.
This is the one trip that I look forward to every year.
The Crown is one of the best casinos in the world.
Poker doesn't really have yet, the four majors like golf or tennis, but when that happens, the Aussie Millions is definitely one of those stops because all the pros do come out, and that's really the measure of whether or not you can really call it a major, is whether or not the pros come, and all the pros are here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the WSOP 2005 champion, Joe Hashem.
When Joe Hashem won the World Series in 2005, it put poker in Australia really into overdrive. We had a massive surge of interest in poker then.
I got a little bit emotional today at the start of the Aussie Millions. To see the room at that capacity. I've seen the room from when it first opened to now, and I've seen it take a roller coaster ride of when they were closing down tables. To see the room buzzing as it is incredible.
The Aussie Millions was a vision about 5 years ago. We were fairly small, about 122 players. And our idea was how could we actually double that every year to get towards 500 and then up towards 1,000 players. We're pretty happy with how that growth has come about, and we want to make sure that we're sort of part of the Grand Slam poker circuit. We're here for the long term as one of the top 5 tournaments in the world.
You look around this tournament room, and this is startling evidence of poker's worldwide popularity.
Back at our feature table, Gus Hansen talking on his recorder. He keeps audio notes of every hand.
Gus's diary. Hope you're not talking about me in there.
No, I was basically saying that Jeff Matson needs a haircut.
Very good-natured banter at the table here, and we got a new player.
Oh, we got a player? Just moved my stack over there. Come on, what are you doing to me?
Robert Totterman is that new player. Comes to us from Stockholm. And, of course, doesn't want to do anything to disrupt the guy sitting on his right.
That, in fact, is the best place at the table for our new player. To the left of Gus Hansen. You always want to act after him.
Wolfell with an ace-10 suited here. 3,700. He'll make it. Now Gus Hansen squeezing out an 8-7 suited. Kind of hand he loves, I would think.
This is the kind of hand that Gus Hansen uses to snap off big premium hands.
He makes the call here. A couple of folds. Bobbin also folds. And Matson a 7-5 offsuit. He will call 2,500 more out of the big blind. 3 players to the flop. 3-8 queen on the flop, so Hansen has caught a pair.
But Wolfel has the nut flush draw. And Matson with 2% chance of winning, bets out.
And bets 5,300.
And I think that's going to be cheap enough to keep Wolfel in for his flush draw. Yeah, he calls.
And now Gus Hansen.
Hansen with middle pair not only has a pretty good hand, but he's getting huge odds to call here, more than 4-1.
And he calls. And another 8. Trip 8s for Hansen now. Matson has no chance. He's drawn dead. Wolfell still has that flush draw. And he'll check. Now what?
If Hansen suspects that his opponent Wolfel has a queen in his hand, he'll want to keep him in this pot, and so he only bets 13,200 there.
That gets Madsen out of the way. Wolfel counting out his chips. Will he go? Quarter of his stack if he wants to make this call.
He's not getting quite the right price to call here. It was a very well-sized bet by Gus Hansen.
Wolfel just kind of calculating in his mind and throwing it away. And Gus Hansen will take this one down, as he has so many times in this tournament. Hansen taking another pot. Great Dane off to a great start here at the Aussie Millions. We're coming back. Welcome back to the Aussie Millions, presented by FullTiltPoker.net. The blinds now have changed to 800 and 1,600 with a 200 chip ante. Barry Tompkins, Michael Koenig alongside. We are in Melbourne, Australia. The Aussie Millions. Ben Collins has made the trek all the way down here to Australia from his home of Troy, Michigan. And he'll fold. Now Ian Bobbin, the economist. Well, how about that? A pair of jacks. And he is all in for 11,700.
And on the short stack, that's the right move.
Gets a couple of folds, 3 folds, and now Gus Hansen. Looking at him one at a time and looking at an ace-7 suited. Would he keep him honest?
I think this would be a pretty loose call here with an ace-7. Now, Gus knows a man in Bobbin's position is going to move with a wide variety of hands, but that's not the one he wants to see.
This is not suited.
He does make the call.
Okay. It's not the hand I wanted to see.
Never changes his demeanor, though, does he? Here's the flop.
Hey, yeah. You never know.
He'll give you all the editorial comment you want. He's got a pair, but still way behind. Now 5 of spades on the turn.
Hansen's looking for another 7 or an ace. Otherwise, Bobbin will double through.
And does not get it. So Bobbin does manage to double through.
But Hansen still has $140,000 to play with.
Now I appreciate it. I wasn't sure if I did when you told me.
Well, he doubled through, and he did it against one of the best poker players in the world, and the guy who is still very much of a threat in this competition. So while Ian Bobbin manages to survive, let's see how the rest of our field is faring. And on one of the outer tables, a player who's just aching to get back into the win column is Patrick Antonius. Patrick has Hendon Mobster, Barney Boatman all in after the flop.
Boatman was trying to pick up this pot by pushing all in with a 4 deuce of diamonds after the flop. Antonius had a great read, but Boatman hits the deuce. I mean, he made a fantastic call, but the cards didn't cooperate.
And things going from bad to worse for Antonius. At one time, Antonius had 400,000 chips. He's down to 110,700 now. While across the room, you can see a sea of chips being swept toward our online qualifier, Shane Schlager. He is now overall chip leader at 401,200 chips.
On the other end of the spectrum, Eric Lindgren is all in with his queens. He's ahead of Andrew Black, but Black has the diamond draw. That diamond comes. Eric Lindgren will be going home. Oh, there it is. That's it. Lindgren cannot win, and he's out.
And all they can do is shake hands and say, see you later. And the Buddhist, Andrew Black, will take what he had left. We began with 747. We're at 182 players now, and the average chip stack, 82,087. Our chip leader, really a surprise. The online qualifier, Shane Schlager, 401,200 chips. At our feature table, Gus Hansen continues to rule the roost, 141,500. Quash, Dunwoody, and Madsen hanging right in there. Collins on the short stack.
It seems that since Jeff Madsen showed that big bluff, nothing really has been going his way, and I don't know if that's just because the cards haven't been cooperating or because now the players have a little better read on what he's doing.
Well, Bobbin coming right back with pocket jacks. 6,000 the bet. And now Madsen with an ace-king suited.
He is definitely going to play here. The question is, does he want to just call or re-raise?
Taking a lot of chips. He is going to re-raise to 21,000. Couple of folds, 3 folds. Gus Hansen folds, 2 players.
All in.
And Bobbin going to go all in again with that pair of jacks.
4,600 more, automatic call for Madsen. And Barry, we call this a coin flip, but you see Bobbin is actually a very clear favorite going into the flop.
Oh, and a set of jacks for Bobbin.
Now I would call him a prohibitive favorite.
Yes, I would say. Well, jacks, we talked about how dangerous they can be. They've been very good to Bobbin.
Well, that 5 gives Madsen a gut shot straight draw.
Got to have a deuce. Does not get it. And Bobbin, once again, will double up.
Now I've got more than 4. I've created a monster. Now it's mostly.
Gus Hansen saying, I've created a monster. Well, jacks have been very good to this economist from Australia. He's up to 55,200 chips. We're coming back to the Aussie Millions.
We play because poker's not a scratch-off ticket, a half-court jumper, or a knock on wood. It's no game of luck, poker. It's a game of patience and well-timed aggression. We know when we play, a little luck helps. But luck can't explain why final tables have so many familiar faces. We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
To day 2 of the 2007 Aussie Millions, presented by FullTiltPoker.net. You know, one of the stories we've been following today at our otter tables is the fall of our one-time chip leader, Patrick Antonius. He's currently in a hand with Mark Karam, who is raised to 8,000 with ace-10 of hearts.
And Antonius, with merely a queen high here, really just can't feel good about his hand whatsoever.
All in.
Oh, but there's one way to change your perspective. Just push it all in and put the other guy to the test.
And a call.
Whoa, and Antonius is going to find himself almost a 2-to-1 underdog. Mark Karam has a big lead going into the flop.
And here is the flop, pair of 8s and a king. Karam sitting pretty right now.
Great flop for him. Nut flush draw. He's way out ahead. If Antonius loses this hand, he will be down just to 2,300 in chips. Karam needs to survive one more card here.
A 3 of spades doesn't help him, and a 10, and Karam has done it.
What an extraordinary reversal of fortune. Patrick Antonius, our chip leader at the start of the day. He once had more than 400,000 chips. He can barely cover the blinds at this point.
Unbelievable. Mark Karam, newly turned pro out of Ontario, Canada. 2 big bites out of Antonius' stack today. Meanwhile, at another outer table, Chris Ferguson's tournament life is at stake. He is all in against Nathan Bobick.
Chris has 9s. Before the flop, it was about even. Now, Ferguson is almost a 3-to-1 favorite.
64,600 in the pot.
Oh, and there's a 9. It's over.
Wow.
He's going to double up. He has nearly 70,000 chips.
And the last thing this tournament field wants to see is a healthy Chris Ferguson. Meanwhile, the drama continues to unfold with the outer tables. It's Joe Hasham in a coin flip right now with an online qualifier, Teresa Harp. The flop, 3 8s.
Wow, Harp has flopped a full house. Hasham needs an ace or a jack to knock her out. Oh, he got the jack.
And still a card to come.
Looking for a 9.
I can't look. Now I can't look anymore.
He says he can't look. It's a 10. And Hasham has come through.
A fortuitous turn card has put Joe Hasham back in contention. He now has more than 93,000 chips here in his hometown.
And Teresa Harp will leave, but as you see the chip count for Joe Hasham, it certainly does make him a player. Well, all kinds of action on the outer tables. Let's get you back right now to our feature table where Gus Hansen is very healthy with over 150,000 in chips. The blinds continue to be 800 and 1,600 with a 200 ante. Dunwoody a 10-9. And it looks like he's going to raise it up. 6,100.
Ooh.
Well, Gus Hansen with an ace-queen suited.
I don't know if Gus Hansen knows how to play cards that big.
Just going to call.
And this is one of the ways that Hansen disguises the strength of his hand. He'll play that ace-queen suited the same way he plays the 8-7 suited.
Now Min Quach with a pair of sixes, and he too will call. And an ace-jack for Jeff Matson, so
he's
Matson's going to push.
All that calling got Jeff Matson excited. He figures this pot is up for grabs.
37,600 is the total. And now Dunwoody with a 10-9, going to forget about it here.
This is by no means a clear-cut decision for Gus Hansen. Ace-queen in this spot. He makes the call.
No. Why'd you call?
I don't know.
Barry Jeff Madsen thought all the calling in front of him was a sign of weakness. Gus Hansen was laying there in the weeds, and now he has Madsen dominated, almost a 3-1 favorite.
Madsen will need a lot of help on the flop.
Hansen and Madsen are two best-known players at this table, but Jeff Madsen is looking at elimination if he doesn't win this hand.
Deuce 8-5 on the flop. No help from Madsen. He'll still have to have a jack if he wants to win.
Hansen has analyzed this flop and decided, well, there's no backdoor flush draw. I'm in pretty good shape.
To the turn. There's the jack.
Oh, man.
Makes Madsen a prohibitive favorite.
Wow, and when you see turn cards like that, it'll start making you talk to yourself in Danish.
One card left for Hansen. It's a queen.
That's sick. That's sick. That's sick.
What
That's sick.
a card.
I smelled that. It's Gus.
That's sick.
Madsen says, I smelled it. It was Gus.
Wow.
A plot twist worthy of Hamlet.
That's sick.
And it just seems to be a typical plot twist worthy of Gus Hansen. He just seems to do it time and time again, and he puts another player out with it this time.
It would not have been fun if the queen came first.
Madsen's gone and Hansen's sitting pretty.
I will admit I was going to talk into my microphone.
The action at the 2007 Aussie Millions is just getting started.
Once again, I'm the tightest player at the table.
It was a day where the man who started at the top ended up at the bottom, where the hometown hero didn't disappoint, and some of poker's biggest names were sent to the rail. But it was the Great Dane who barked loudest. For Michael Koenig, I'm Barry Tompkins. See you next time.